Hello friends, welcome to Samarth Exam Prep. Today we are going to study verb. So verb क्या है? What is verb? Verb वो words हैं जो किसी इंसान या किसी चीज के बारे में बताएं. That means they just tell something about a person or a thing. Now this person or his thing is nothing but either noun or pronoun. That means they tell us about noun and pronoun. But what do they exactly tell us about noun and pronoun? They are not going to tell about the quality, quantity, size, color. They are not telling about the quantity of them. So quality of those noun and pronoun. So what happens? Because the words that tell us about quality, quantity, size and all that, those words are basically adjectives. But here I am telling you about verb. So verb are basically the words that tell about a person or a thing. But what do they tell? They tell that what a person or a thing does, what is done to a person or a thing, and what a person or a thing is. यानी कि कोई चीज या व्यक्ति क्या कर रहा है, उसके साथ क्या हो रहा है और वो क्या है. यानी कि कोई भी वर्ड्स इन सवालों के जवाब दे तो उनको हम कहते हैं वर्ब. तो वर्ब को हम सिंपल भाषा में, वेरी सिंपल लैंग्वेज, वर्ब कैन बी डिस्क्राइब्ड एज एक्शन वर्ड्स. यानी कि जो नाउन और प्रोनाउन के एक्शन के बारे में हमें बताएं. नाउ लेट्स गो बाय द एग्जांपल. He plays football. Now here he is pronoun or a person, and football is a noun or an object. So what is he doing with football? He plays football. So play is a verb. Now she is painting the wall. Wall is again noun or an object. It is in an objective way because this is object because it is in the predicate. Now she is the subject as well as pronoun. Now the is article here, and is painting, we have is and painting. So is helping verb. And painting is again a verb. In the third form, painting means that is they are right now at this moment painting the wall. Then what is she doing? She is right now painting the wall. Here is painting is present continuous tense. Okay, it is in present continuous tense. The sentence is in present continuous tense. That means what is she doing? She is painting the wall. The second, so here these sentences, play and painting, is telling about he and she. तो he क्या कर रहा है? Play, and she is painting. Okay. What is done to a person? यानी इंसान के साथ क्या हो रहा है? Now she was hurt during the dance lessons. So what happened to she? She got hurt or she was hurt. Okay, so was is here helping verb again, and hurt is ordinary verb. Okay, he is taught by Mr. Tom. So what is happening to him? He is taught. So is again is helping verb. Okay, are you able to get it? And the third way is what a person or a thing is. She, woman of great character. If I say she, woman of great character, then it makes no sense. But she is a woman of great character means अभी वो she is a woman of great character, यानी वो बहुत ही अच्छी चरित्र की महिला है. मतलब अभी भी वो है एक अच्छी चरित्र की महिला. If I would have used was, तो इसका मतलब या तो वो इंसान अब मतलब वो थी लेकिन अब नहीं है. She was a woman of great character. That means वो एक बहुत ही अच्छे चरित्र की महिला थी. So verb आपको ये एग्जाम्पल से क्लियर हो गया होगा. What verb is? Verb is word that tell about a person or a thing. That means they tell three things about a person or a thing. That means they tell three things about noun or pronoun. That what noun or pronoun is doing, what is done to noun or pronoun, and what is noun or pronoun. Not the definition. That means what a person or a thing is doing, what a person or what is done to a person or a thing, and what a person or a thing is. Okay. So if you can understand, verb is different from adjective. They both tell about person or a thing, but adjective tells about the quality, the quantity, size. They describe the noun and pronoun. They give the characteristics. But verb क्या करते हैं? Verb tell you about the action, what action they are in, what exactly they are doing, what is being done to them, and what a person or a thing is. Okay, understandable? Now we'll move to types of verbs. So types of verbs, how there are different types of verb. But first we are discussing auxiliary verbs. Auxiliary का मतलब, the meaning of auxiliary is very simple. It means supporting or helping, basically. So the verbs which are helping or supporting the other verbs are auxiliary verbs. So there are first the primary auxiliary verbs. So they are differentiated into to be, to have, and to do. To be, and you must have read them through be verbs. Be verbs are is, am, are, was, were, been, being. And to have, that means have verbs, has, have, and had. And to do verbs means do, does, and did. That means different forms of them. Do. Okay, so first we'll discuss primary ones. Okay, through examples, through first person, second person, and third person for better usage. So first type of verb is what which we are discussing right now, auxiliary verb. Auxiliary verb has primary auxiliary verbs. First we are discussing them. Okay, and the second one comes model auxiliary. So models, you know what, we are going to take another class for models, but I'll come back to it just for a few minutes. I'll give you the introduction of it. First, let's move to auxiliary verbs. Okay, so let's go through this slide. So in this slide, we have first person, second person, and third person. You must have gone through the pronoun video. If any one of you have not gone through it, please go through it. There we have discussed first person, second person, and third person. For all of those who do not know, I'm repeating it again. First person is speaker, second person is listener, and third person is basically the topic or the person who's being talked about. The discussion or the top person who's being talked about in a conversation. So we discussed the forms also, that which one are singular and plural: I, we, you, he, she, it, and they. So please go through that first if you do not know about it, because it will be really difficult for me to again discuss everything for pronoun like this, at least till here. Okay, please go through the video first. So what I'm going to tell you here, what we can do is, here we are taking in third person he and she. We can also use the name of the persons like Sita, Ram, Lakshman. Yeah, everything from Ramayana, Mahabharata also you can take, Arjun, Karan, like any name basically. So all these are also going to be coming under third person. Understandable? Okay, so first is, let's just discuss which pronoun or which noun basically is going to take which helping verb. Okay, so like I told you, the first thing we have already discussed auxiliary verbs. So auxiliary, we were going through primary auxiliary verbs. So primary auxiliary verbs, we had to be, to have, and to do. So Now I'm going to tell you how we are going to use and which tense we are going to use. So basically I am a teacher. मैं एक टीचर हूँ. When I'm talking about me, I'm the speaker, I'm talking. So when I'm talking about myself, so I'll just say I am a teacher. So here the helping verb with I will always, not always basically, but mostly it will be am. Because why I'm saying not always, why I've corrected myself here, because we have conditional sentences also, where the condition clauses comes. So there we talk about hypothetical situations also. In that one, we use different helping verbs with I also. So when we are going to take that class, I'll remind you of this class. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So for now, you just understand I is going to take the helping verb am. With I, we are going to use am in present tense. And in past tense, if I have to say I was, that means मैं अभी पढ़ाती हूँ, that means मैं teacher हूँ. So I am a teacher. मैं पढ़ाती थी, I was a teacher. So in present tense, it is taking am. In past tense, I is taking was. Then again, if I am talking about first person plural, I talk about a group of teachers where I am also involved. So I'll say we are teacher. We are teachers. Okay. And we were teachers. Again, the same thing. That means are and were. With we, are and were is going to be used. In second person, I told you singular and plural both are you only. So in present tense, you are a teacher. You were a teacher. Are a teacher, आप teacher हो. आप टीचर थे, you were a teacher. Similarly, third person, if he is there, that means we are using he pronoun. He is a teacher, she is a teacher, it is a teacher, they are a teacher. Okay? Now basically it के साथ teacher use करना थोड़ा awkward लगेगा, but I'm just using it because I am using the sentence, I'm using teacher for everything. So just because for that I have used teacher. Okay, but with it, what is it? Cannot non-living thing or a neuter, gender neutral thing. What is that? It cannot be a teacher, no. So he is a teacher, she is a teacher, it is a teacher, they are a teacher. In past tense, he was a teacher, she was a teacher, it was a teacher, they were a teacher. So if you see, in present tense, we have three to be verbs. That is, am and are. So in present tense, we have how many? Just I'll rub it off for you and we'll discuss it properly. Okay, we'll just clear this off because this cluttered way of teaching, and even as a student you won't understand, you won't be able to focus on one thing. So now let's go through things again. Okay, now let's go what I was discussing to you. In present tense, we have is, am and are. This table tells which person uses which tense, but right now in present, which helping verbs we are using from be is, am, are. Okay, and is, am, are for singular, are is for plural. Past, we have was and were. Was is for singular, were is again for plural. Understand? Okay, now we come to second one, that is to have. Yeah, that means have verb. So we are going to use have for everything except he, she and it. Except he, she and it, we are going to use has. Even for the names which I rubbed off, like Sita, Geeta also will take has. Sita has a pencil. Geeta has a pencil. Okay, they have a pencil. It has a pencil. Understand? And in past, everything is going to take had form. If you'll see, I had, we had, you had, he had, she had, it had, they had, Rita had, Sita had, Ram had, Geeta had, everything is had. Understand? Present. In have verb, we have has and have. Except he, she, it and the names. He, she, it and the names. Everything is going to take have. Okay, and past, every person is going to take had. Singular, plural, first person, second person, third person, always going to take had form. Okay, now do, to do verbs, except again he, she, it. He, she, it use does. And except that, everyone, and again the same thing, Rita, Sita, Geeta, any name, everyone is going to take does. Like, I do my homework. We do our homework. You do your homework. He does his homework. She does her homework. It does its homework. They do their homework. Now, you please remember this one at least, do and does. I hope most of you will know, but there are few persons, at least everywhere, they have a problem, they have a confusion with do and does. So for them, I have kept it. So please go through it, because when we are going to study question tags, we'll have a lecture on question tags. That time, please recollect this one. Okay, now in past tense, everything will use did. Now if suppose, now we talked about primary auxiliary verbs. Now, if you'll notice, I've just taken present tense and past tense. Future tense I have skipped, because when we are going to read tenses, no, because everything will take will or shall. Either they are going to take will and shall. So they can take will or shall depending on the situation or the condition, basically. So when we are going to discuss that, I'll let you know. Now again, first come back to the slide, our previous slide, where I told you about model auxiliary verbs. Now what happens with model auxiliary verbs? There's can, could, shall, should, will, would, may, must, ought, etc. So what happens with them is they take with first person, second person, third person, all are same. He can walk, she can walk, I can walk, we can walk, they can walk, it can walk, you can walk. That means they are same. They are same for all the persons. First person, second person, third person, any name, right? Same, similarly, could, shall, should. So what we are going to do, we are going to have a lecture in models. So what is the difference between can, could, shall, should? When should I use should? When should I use shall? When can I use can? When may I use may? So if you understand, we are going, I'll just we are going to discuss everything in models. Okay. Now comes after auxiliary verbs, that means supporting or helping verbs, which are of two types, primary auxiliary, model auxiliary. I hope now you understand through this slide the difference. Okay, now comes the ordinary verbs. Ordinary verbs, like name says, these are in plain words, these can be said as action words, okay, or action verbs. They are basically action verbs. That means play, sing, dance, swim, exercise, skip, jog, run, everything like play, work, anything, study. All these are telling about action, and all these are ordinary verbs. So we'll discuss through these table also, that which person takes what form, which pronoun takes what form. So everything, again, everything is going to use sing. Like with I we use sing, with we use sing, I sing, we sing, you sing, he sings. That means we'll add an s here. She sings. It sings. They again sing. Okay, so with ordinary verbs also we have this table. Okay, now past tense of sing is sang. Sang, 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 everywhere same, no difference. Okay, so you please note down this table. All of you who have really difficult please keep this table, okay, for your understanding. This table is summing up everything, your confusion. Anybody not knowing even the basic English or subject verb agreement, for them we have this table. I have made this table for you for better understanding of which verb, which form. Form basically we'll study in tenses also, but this is basically which helping verb will go with which person. First person, second person, third person. Okay. Now let's move to the next slide. Now first go through these examples. See, this is a little complex one. This is going to tell us the difference between finite and non-finite verbs. So please go through this. Please listen to this very carefully. She sings in all the events of the school. She is a pronoun. And what she does? She sings in all the events of the school. यानी कि वो जो लड़की है वो स्कूल के हर एक इवेंट में गाती है. तो यहाँ पे वर्ब जो है it is limited by the subject. Okay, now she likes to sing in all the events of the school. Here likes is also a verb, but to sing is also a verb. उसे पसंद है. पसंद होना, उसे, इसका क्या मतलब है? उसे स्कूल के हर एक इवेंट में गाना पसंद है. तो पसंद भी है और गाना भी. मेन जो अपना यहाँ पे वर्ब है जो एक्शन बता रहा है, अगर मैं ये बोलूं उसे पसंद है हर एक इवेंट, स्कूल के हर एक इवेंट, नो सेंस. सो मेन वर्ब क्या है? व्हाट इज द मेन वर्ब हियर? टू सिंग. बट to sing is not directly related to she here. That means it is not directly limited to she. If I tell you like this, you'll understand this better by if I tell you I'm putting they in place of she. Then what will happen? They, we are going to change the verb and its form and we are going to put sing. So sing is directly connected to the subject. If I am going to put she, sing will use sings. If I am going to put they, sing, it will become sing. Understand? But for this sentence, you put they. For they, what will change? Like, not now. First it was she likes to sing. First it was she likes to sing in all the events of the school. Now it will be they like to sing in all the events of the school. Okay. So here, which this is not changing. What is not changing here? This sing. I am putting they, her, she, he, we, I. So like is getting changed, but sing is not getting changed. Understand? I hope आप सबको समझ में आ गई. She sings in all the events of the school. She likes to sing in all the events of the school. In the first one, sings is directly connected to she. In the second sentence, sing is not directly connected to she. So, first sentence is an example of what? Finite verb. Okay, so finite, and second one is an example of non-finite. So basically, what is finite verb? Finite verbs are basically the verbs which have a subjects of its own, जिनके पास खुद का subject होता है. यहाँ sings के पास उसका subject था yes, and it was limited by the person and the number of the subject. Of course, when I was using they, it was changing to sing. When I was using he, it was not getting changed, but still, for I, it was getting changed, right? So basically, it was limited by the person and the number of the subject, right? If it was first person, it was different. If it was second person, it was different. If it was third person, it was definitely different. And number also, if I singular or plural, right? So finite verbs change according, they have the subject and they change, they are limited and they are dependent on the person and the number of the subject, right? Like the examples I have given here, but I think the example here suffices everything. Now, finite verbs are of two types. The verbs that pass the action to the object, right? Or the verb, they pass the action to the object or not, basically. Okay. So, the verb, finite verbs are of two types. So, finite verbs are of two types. So, they are transitive verbs and intransitive verbs. So, finite verbs are transitive or intransitive. Based on what? Based on if their action is passed on to the object or it is not passed on to the object. Simple भाषा में बताऊं तो सपोज मैं बोल रही हूं आई राइट अ लेटर, तो मैं क्या कर रही हूं? आई एम राइटिंग. what am I writing? वो राइट किसके ऊपर है? what am I writing? A letter. तो वो जो मेरा एक्शन है that is going on letter. So letter is an object here. So this is transitive verb. That means the action is passed on the object. So she writes a letter to me daily. She writes, what is she writing? A letter. So action of that writing is passed on to the object, which is letter. Again, he passed the exam with flying colors. Our second example, he passed the exam with the flying colors. That means उसने क्या पास किया है? एग्जाम. तो वो पास किस पे हम लोगों के हमने एक्शन पास किया? ऑब्जेक्ट पे. एंड हियर पास्ट इसका ऑब्जेक्ट क्या है? एग्जाम. ओके. सो these are the examples of transitive verbs. So whenever the effect of the verb or the action of the verb is passed on to the object, it is transitive verb. And when it is not passed, it is intransitive. Intransitive का example देखते हैं. Let's see that first. She came running. वो भागती हुई आई. बस कौन भागा? वो आया. भागती हुई क्या किया? आई. ठीक है, लेकिन उसने भागती हुई आके क्या? If I say she came running into my room, then transitive. Because उसके पास ऑब्जेक्ट आ जाता. It would have passed the action onto the object. उसके पास ऑब्जेक्ट, यहाँ ऑब्जेक्ट नहीं है. She came running. The baby cries a lot. बेबी रोता है, कोई ऑब्जेक्ट नहीं है. The baby cries over its toy a lot. If I put this object here, it will become intransitive. Got it? जब ऑब्जेक्ट नहीं है, एक्शन ऑब्जेक्ट पे नहीं जा रहा, इट इज इंट्रांजिटिव. व्हेन ऑब्जेक्ट है, एक्शन ऑब्जेक्ट पे पास हो रहा है, इट इज ट्रांजिटिव. नाउ आई ऑलरेडी टोल्ड यू फाइनाइट, इनफाइनाइट. फाइनाइट के पास अपना सब्जेक्ट होता है, लिमिटेड होता है फर्स्ट पर्सन, सेकंड पर्सन, थर्ड पर्सन से, और किससे? नंबर से. ठीक है, सिंगुलर है, प्लूरल है. इंट्रांजिटिव, नॉट लिमिटेड बाय द पर्सन एंड नंबर ऑफ एनी ऑब्जेक्ट. यानी कि फर्स्ट पर्सन, सेकंड पर्सन, थर्ड पर्सन हो तो भी उसी फॉर्म में यूज होंगे, नंबर चेंज कर दो तो भी उसी फॉर्म में यूज होंगे. we'll have a different class for this because this will have gerunds, infinitive and participle here. Okay, so we'll discuss these three in next lecture. I hope by now you people know verb, what is verb, the definition, what exactly is verb, types of verb, the forms of verb which is used by the persons, first person, second person, third person, then the different types, finite, infinite, transitive, intransitive. I hope you all know, right? If you encounter any problem in or any doubt, please let me know. We'll discuss it again, but please go through it properly. So now we'll come to rules after discussing the types and what are verbs, which I think you are by now clear. So if you remember, no, our last lecture of pronoun, these two rules I have already discussed with pronouns, and I told you that when we are going to study verb, that means subject verb agreement, we are going to again read these rules. So today is our verb lecture, we'll again go through them. So there are few words when we have two subjects, that means suppose Sita and Rita, we have not Rita, we'll take Sita and her children. Okay, Sita and her children. So we have two subjects, Sita, and second subject is her children. So when these two subjects are joined by, not by and, but with any of these, that means with, along with, together with, as well as, not only, but also, nothing but, no less than, except, in addition to, like, unlike, rather than, more, this I'll tell you. Let's just leave it. This I'll tell you here. Okay. So when the two subjects are joined by such words, what happens? The verb is used according to the first subject. Here is the first subject, here is the second subject. So the number can be different for both the subjects, like in here, it's Sita and her children. But if I say Sita along her children, along with, if I say along, it will take first this, Sita along with her children was present at the party. Okay, like I told you, helping verb, for plural we take were, for singular we take was. Sita, for so this was is in accordance with first subject. Understood? Sita was present at the party. But if we say her children along with, that means children along with their mother Sita were present. Understood? So the verb is coming according to the first subject. Whichever subject we are going to put first, the verb will be according to that. Now, the example here, another example is the father and not his children was hurt in, so there some accident happened and all the father and the children, that means more than one or two children, whatever, how many children there were, it is not mentioned. So the father and and children, they were involved in an accident. So what we are saying, the father and not his children was hurt in the accident. So that means the father and not his children was hurt in the accident. So that means it goes for the first there is the first subject and here is the second subject. So verb we are using, it is connected with and not. Okay, and first subject and second subject are connected with and not. So we are going to use the verb according to the first subject. Okay, let's come to another example. Like I told you about this, more noun than one. So the example here is more men than one were present. I'll rub this off, it's too much written. Okay, so what happens is, you see this one. Let's come to second one. More noun than one. More noun than one का क्या मतलब है? यहाँ here we are going to put some noun. Boys, children, men, women. So more men than one were absent yesterday. That means एक से ज्यादा आदमी कल अनुपस्थित थे. ठीक है, यानी कि एक से ज्यादा आदमी कल अनुपस्थित थे. तो हमने हमारा फर्स्ट ये पढ़ा men. तो ये प्लूरल है. बिकॉज दिस इज प्लूरल, वी आर गोइंग टू यूज वर हियर. ओके, नाउ वी हैव two types here. I'll just explain you here only. More boys, the difference I'll tell you. More boys than one and more than one boy. So when more boys than one is going to come, we'll take plural. That means more boys than one were singing at the party. Okay, were, we are using were here because we are there, we have boys here, and because we are supposed to use plural verb. More than one boy was singing at the party, यानी एक से ज्यादा लड़का पार्टी में गा रहा था. More than one man was absent yesterday. So you understand, if we have in this way more noun than one, then we are going to use plural verb. But if we have more than one then noun, then we are going to use singular verb. I don't think so I have put it anywhere in the slide, so please note it down at least. The difference between more noun than one, more than one noun. This takes plural, this takes singular. Okay, now let's move to not only but also, neither nor, either nor, none but. So in this case, verb is in accordance to the second subject. When these words were used, verb was in accordance with the first subject. In this one, it is according to the nearest subjects or the second one. So neither he or his friends. So first subject and second subject. So the nearest subject is second, this one. So we have verb here. So verb is going to be the nearest. So nearest is his friends. So we are going to use have. If I would have used neither his friends, nor this one. Okay. If I would have used neither his friends nor he has done his homework. Understand? We have already discussed it in pronoun, but I'm still telling you. Similarly, for either her friends or she has left her book. Similarly, either she or her friends have left the book. Okay. Now the second rule comes: neither, either, none, anyone, each, every. Okay. These are what? Distributive pronouns. We have discussed, if you know. So when these are used as pronoun or adjective, it should be followed by third person. Very easy language. When we are saying neither of the two boys, that means it is going to take everything. Neither, either, if there are not two persons, but neither of the boys, either of the boys, none of the boys, any one of them, each one of them, every time for these we are going to use singular verb. Go through the sentences, you'll know. Either of the two boys has done. Each of the students is obedient. Either of us has done. Every boy and every girl has been invited. Usually what we do, every boy and every girl have been invited to the party. So this is the error. Every boy and every girl has been invited to the party. Okay? Note it down. Note everything down, because these are there are many rules, but we are just discussing the rules on which the main errors we get in the exam. So this you will find it very easily in sentences. So these rules need to be known. The third rule says when the noun is used with countable nouns, both singular and plural are correct. This is very easy. But with uncountable noun, singular verb is used. What exactly it is? Take by example, none of the boys have done their homework. So if I say none of the boys has done their homework, have done homework, because here I am using what? Countable. The noun is boys is countable. So both of them are correct. But if I say none of the work, it will always be singular. Now you tell me, when we studied noun, I guess, I told you for uncountable noun will take plural. Why? Uncountable noun, I told you, it cannot be plural. Fuels, hairs, milks, right? So I told you when they cannot be plural, verb will always be singular. None of the work is completed. None of the liquid is empty. Okay. So uncountable, because an uncountable is not used in plural form, so the verb will also be in singular form. Because they are used in singular, so the verb is also in singular. They are used in plural, the verb can also be in plural. But uncountable, plural form not there, verb plural not possible. Got it? Very simple. So let's move to our next rule. And the rule says when each is used after the subject, verb is plural. That means, see, understand, when I say they are responsible, okay, each of them is responsible, like we studied. But whenever each is just followed by the subject, that means they each, that means everyone. But so whenever we used each just after the subject, we are going to use plural. Understand, each are responsible, each of them is responsible, that is singular. But they each are responsible, that means plural. Got it? Next rule, they say, go for the example first. 4 miles is a long distance. 4 miles is a long distance. 4 miles. Now you will say it's plural. Yes, it is plural. But this is what? Compound noun in a way. Because we are using compound, means compound with number. So we are using number plus miles. So 4 miles. This makes one word. So 4 miles is, it will always take singular. When plural nouns explain specific quantities. So don't go for all this. Just understand 4 miles, 5 kilometers is, okay, 5 meter is the length of the cloth. 5 kgs is the weight of the rice. So when number and noun, that means the noun for what? Amount, sum, distance, quantity, time. that is period that is coming. 5 years is a long time, not are a long time. 5 and years are a long time. Got it? So whenever amount, sum, distance, quantity, time, period, when these nouns are joined with what? Numbers. So they form compound noun. So in that compound one, it is always going to take what? Plural form. Sorry, singular form. So 5,000 rupees is a small amount. Okay, got it? So with compound nouns, that is compounded with numbers. For amount, sum, quantity, time, period, what we are going to do? We are going to use singular verb. Then comes many, on many, and more than. See, I already told you the difference between more than and more than one and more men than one. I already explained you earlier. Similarly, like more than one man and more men than one, there's many, and many. With many, we are going to use plural. But whenever we are going to use many, or many and, we are going to use singular. Okay. Same example like this. Same like this. More than one boy and more boys than one. Similarly, many accidents have taken place. So, have is for plural. Many an accident has taken place. We are not going to use accidents. Many an accident has recently taken place. Singular. See, singular, then there also singular. Boy. Plural, this is a trick to learn. Plural, more boys than one. Then verb is also plural. Similarly, many men were hurt. Many a man was hurt. Okay. Now, second, understand? Now we comes to the next rule. The verb in the following cases is used in singular form. This also we did in articles. I'll just explain this to you through example. The secretary and the treasurer were present. See, if we are given this and we are asked to put the helping verb, okay, of past tense with this. Helping be verb of past tense. We are asked that here we have a dash and also here also we have a dash. We have to fill this blank. How are we going to decide? You understand? The secretary and the treasurer. Now we are going to decide by this article. The and the. So before the post of secretary we have used the. Before the use of post of treasurer we have used the. That means we are talking about two different persons. So these two different persons hold two different posts. So we are going to use were. But in here, the secretary and treasurer. So here, just by the use of this article, here we are not using article. That means we are talking about one person who is holding both the post. Okay. So what happens is when this one person is holding both the post, we are going to use singular, of course, because this is singular. We are talking about one person. So the secretary and the treasurer was present here. Got it? So this was it. Like one more thing, bread and butter is a common food. Fish and chips is the favorite fast food. So these are fish and chips are usually used together. Fish and chips. So whenever fish and chips, we are not going to use are because this is dish fish and chips. This is going to come with is. Similarly, bread and butters is getting expensive. That because they are used as a single unit. That means common food is getting expensive. That's why phrases and idiomatic pairs. Okay. This is the example of A. These two are the examples of A, and this is the example of B. Understand? So this was it. I suppose, yes, these were the rules, and this was all about noun. Okay. So today our lecture is over. We'll just quickly move to the learning corner. Here I have put few words. You please go through these words. Not very difficult one. Aesthetic value of a place means artistic beauty, related to the beauty. Aesthetics, I would like to put the aesthetics of this place in vibrant themes. That means, so basically anything to do with the beauty, artistic beauty is aesthetic. Affable means somebody who's easy to talk to or who's friendly. Now affectation is what? Unnatural or artificial behavior. Itrana. Affinity, sympathy, attraction. Chemistry, we know about bonds. Affinity towards each other, that means attraction towards each other. I have affinity towards helping poor. I have a sympathy or attraction. So that's something which you like is affinity. Affluent, rich and prosperous, wealthy people, affluent families. Affluent family, you can say. Agenda of a meeting, that means a program or the things that will take place in a meeting. So basically what you can do is, you can put one word to that, or you can just learn through one sentence. Like I learned aesthetics of a place. That means you'll understand artistic beauty of place. Affable person, that means friendly person. Affectation, the affectation means ghamand, alag tarika sa itrana. Affinity, I have an affinity to you, I have attraction towards you, liking towards you. Affluent, rich and prosperous. Agenda of a meeting. Now agrarian is basically relating to land or farming. Okay. Aggregate is, aggregate percentage, that means sum total. Congregate means, or congregation means to come together. People or things that come together. The meeting or the get together of people at any religious place or specifically church is called congregation. And congregate means to get together basically. Segregate means to separate. Or segregation is that. Agnostic person who doubts the existence of God. He is not an atheist. Atheist is somebody who says there is no God. So agnostic is not religious or not the believer of God, and neither they do not deny or accept the presence of God. They are little doubtful. They don't know if God is there or not. They are not completely to any of the sides. They are somewhere in middle. Okay, so these are the words. Please note them down. Keep them in your copy. Whenever we are going to start our lecture, not lecture, basically practice classes videos. So that time these words might help you. So please keep reading and learning till we meet next. Thank you.